Ever feel like you're stuck in the technological dark ages when you're dealing with, government stuff?
Yeah, I think we've all been there, right?
Paperwork, clunky websites, it can be pretty rough. But what if, and this is a wild thought, what if we could actually change that with our vote?
Now that's an interesting idea.
Right. Like electing leaders who actually get the whole tech thing.
Yeah, it's gaining traction, this idea of having like really tech-savvy people at all levels of government, not just,
Not just the IT department buried in the basement.
exactly.
So we're diving into this article from department.technology. It's titled, get this, Transforming Governance, the Role of Elected Technology Leaders.
Sketchy.
Right. But it's more than just a catchy title. It actually gets into some really specific scenarios of how this would actually work.
Because, I mean, right now, if you think about it, if let's say the DMV website crashes, who's accountable, really?
Yeah, good luck figuring that out.
But just imagine, you've got a secretary of technology at the state level, a supervisor at the county, even a director of technology for your city.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Back up. You're saying we'd actually vote on these positions.
That's the whole idea. Accountability through elections.
So if the tech isn't up to snuff.
You can vote them out, just like any other elected office.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this could actually shake things up.
Because it's not just about fixing a website. It's about how tech impacts every aspect of our lives.
Exactly. And the article dives into that, like, let's talk cybersecurity.
Huge issue.
Right. So imagine you've got this statewide cybersecurity strategy.
Which is great, but a strategy is only as good
as the people implementing it.
Exactly. That's where these local officials come in, right?
Yeah.
Making sure it's actually happening on the ground.
So it's like a trickle-down effect, but for tech.
Kind of. But instead of, economics, it's about making sure your local library's Wi-Fi isn't going to get hacked.
Okay, and that's where, what did you call it? The city-level director of technology?
Exactly. They're the ones making sure things are secure at the source.
So they're in the weeds, so to speak.
But it's not just about playing defense. The article also talks about how these elected tech leaders could revolutionize things like disaster response.
Oh, interesting. Because right now, it seems like when a natural disaster hits, communication is the first thing to go.
Right. And that's where having someone in charge who gets the tech
could be a game changer.
Exactly.
So they're the ones making sure that, like, if there's an earthquake,
first responders actually have up-to-date info, right?
Yeah, like which buildings are unsafe or making sure those emergency alerts are actually getting to people's phones.
Exactly. Even if, like, cell towers are down,
Because right now, that's scary to even think about.
It is, and that's where, this idea of elected tech leaders gets really interesting, right? It's not just about reacting to disasters, it's about being proactive.
So using tech to, like, lessen the impact before it even happens.
Exactly, and this brings us to a big theme in the article, AI.
Okay, AI. Because, let's be real, that word gets thrown around a lot.
All the time. But
Yes.
This isn't just some, like, buzzword,
So how are they saying these elected tech leaders would actually use AI for something that's not, totally terrifying?
Right. Well, they talk about, for example, imagine a world where your commute, and I know this sounds crazy, but
Please tell me they've solved rush hour.
okay, maybe not solved, but imagine AI that's controlling traffic lights.
Okay.
It learns traffic patterns and then, like, adjusts the lights in real time.
So no more sitting at an empty intersection for 5 minutes.
Ideally. Or imagine public transportation that, like, gives you personalized updates.
Personalized how?
Like, it tells you the absolute fastest way to get where you need to go based on, real-time conditions.
Okay, I have to admit that does sound kind of nice.
Right. It's about using AI to make things, actually better.
But, and I do have a but, more tech, more data, it all feels a bit Big Brother, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the big question. Right. And the article doesn't try to sugarcoat that. Data privacy is a huge concern.
Because if we're giving elected officials more access to data,
We need to know it's not going to be abused, right?
it's almost like we'd need a whole new level of trust.
Absolutely. We need to be asking tough questions about how this data is collected, how it's stored, how it's used, and
And how do we make sure these tech leaders are actually accountable for that?
that's key. Because, technology itself isn't good or bad. It's about the people using it.
So it's not just about blindly electing someone who can code.
Right. We need informed voters who understand these issues.
Because this isn't like fixing potholes, right?
Yeah, no, this is about the future of our digital lives.
It's about, like, the bigger picture, right?
Totally. It's not just about having the latest gadget or, the fastest download speeds. It's about
It's about who's making the decisions about how tech gets used.
exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why, the article, it keeps coming back to this idea of public engagement.
Because we can't just leave it up to the techies to figure out.
Right.
Great.
It can't just be like, people in Silicon Valley deciding these things.
Yeah.
You all have a stake in this.
So, yeah, AI for traffic lights is cool and all, but what about using it to, I don't know.
Address bigger problems.
Yeah, like bias in loan applications or even predictive policing?
Those are big questions, yeah.
Yeah.
And we need leaders who understand the implications.
Because those are the kinds of things where tech could either make things worse.
Or help create a more just world. It all depends.
And a big part of it is just having those conversations, right? What do we actually want our tech to be doing?
Absolutely. Imagine a city where the director of technology is actually working with community groups.
Okay, so it's not just about setting up servers in the basement.
No, it's about making sure everyone has access to affordable internet.
Digital literacy programs, things like that.
Exactly. Because technology it can either bridge the digital divide.
Or make it even wider.
Exactly. So it all comes down to leadership.
And that's where we, the voters, come in.
We're the ones who decide, ultimately.
So it's not just about finding someone who can code. It's about electing someone who gets it.
Someone who understands the power of tech.
But also the responsibility that comes with it.
100%.
Yeah.
Because, at the end of the day, tech should be a tool.
Not the other way around. Yeah.
Exactly. And that takes informed citizens, engaged communities.
And leaders who actually listen.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
So there you have it. A deep dive into a future where tech isn't just for the techies. It's for everyone. A little scary, maybe, but also
Exciting, right.
Totally. And it all starts with us. So think about it. If you could elect a tech leader for your community, what's the one thing you'd want them to tackle? That's something to chew on. Until next time, keep learning, keep questioning, and keep those tech conversations going.